Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. This time, we will be reviewing the brand new Stardust Racers at Universal Epic Universe. So let's just jump right into this. Stardust Racers is a massive Mack dueling multi-launch coaster. The coaster will operate at the brand new Universal Epic Universe theme park opening on May 22nd of 2025. The ride stands at a height of 133 feet, reaches a top speed of 62 miles per hour, and has a track length of over 5,000 feet. But that's a quick overview of the ride, and on paper it doesn't sound amazing, but the ride experience itself is phenomenal. I have now ridden 244 different roller coasters across the United States, and the green track of this ride is my new favorite coaster, with the yellow track being not far behind at number 3. The ride's plaza is pretty cool with the airtime hills of the green track over the entrance, and you can see the ride's high points behind the back of house gate. The entrance sign is set off to the side and actually has a good bit of kinetic energy with the comet heads actually spinning. The entrance is under a lattice-style arch that has plants growing on the sides, and possibly over time, they will grow over the entire arch. You walk through the arch to an area under the unload station, where you either enter the regular or express pass queues. The queue area immediately after the entrance is not highly themed, but it has a nice aesthetic with a good mix of brick and this mint green metal with some nice white and gold accents that just make it very pleasant. Back half of the queue isn't much, with a lot of metal and concrete, and you can see the ride, which that's nice. After you return to the main queue area, you enter an area with double-sided lockers. This is a new locker system in place on about 90% of the rides at Epic Universe. Stardust is the only ride that requires lockers, but almost every ride has these new in-queue lockers. The new lockers are slightly smaller than the paid lockers currently available, but they're bigger than the current free lockers at the old parks. The difference with the old ones versus these new ones is the new ones have a facial recognition system that works amazingly, even in the dark of the Monsters Unchained ride. Then you climb the stairs to the upper level and pass through metal detection. You then are at the split point, where you can choose your side. On the left is yellow and on the right is green. This leads into a small cattle pen set area before you walk down a straight stretch of queue to the grouper to be sent to a row. This straight stretch of queue is actually going through the center of the two tracks as you come very close to the ride's final brake runs and have to pass by the unload station before reaching the actual loading area. The station is very cavernous, but not daunting, with the comet tail stretching through the roof. These trains are just perfection, honestly. I've said Mack makes my favorite coaster trains in terms of comfort, and these have the amazingly comfortable Mack overhead lap bars, with some nice and super comfortable seats. The trains are so beautiful with the amazing deep purple, with deep yet light blue color scheme that blends together perfectly, with the amazing star lights that illuminate the station and the flux capacitor while fluxing in the back of the train.
Flux capacitor, fluxing.
It's really just a beautiful and amazing train, and I absolutely love it. I can't wait to see it cycling the course at night and see how it looks, because just seeing it in the slightly dimmer station, it looked phenomenal. I also want to say that the seats have inboard speakers or onboard speakers for the onboard audio. This onboard audio is phenomenal. I've only heard the daytime track, which is a more brassy soundtrack. Very loud, definitely fits the very chaotic nature of the ride. I hope that Universal releases it for public use once the ride is open. Maybe not like public use, but you can listen to it on like YouTube or something, because there's a lot of Easter eggs, including a segment of Hulk's audio in it. So I'm very curious to get to hear the full thing again when I'm not being absolutely amazed by the coaster. But the night soundtrack will be completely different from the day soundtrack and have a more synthy style. Now, for what everyone's probably been waiting for, the actual ride experience. This ride is just perfect. It really is. I definitely found the green to be better as it carried more speed throughout the ride, and with that came stronger airtime and forces. There are slight variations between the two sides, so I will mainly just review green, but point out yellow's differences in just a moment. The train starts by dispatching from the station and entering into a small descending turn to the right, before transitioning to a left-hand turn, bringing the train under the station, with a slight amount of whip, surprisingly. The train then hits the first launch, and it has no power. I actually said on the first launch, yep, as expected, no power. But then I was surprised. About 3/4 of the way down the launch track, the train accelerates from crawling to zooming very suddenly with amazing force and kick. I love this surprise even more than the constantly powerful Intamin launches. The train then slams into the first top hat with amazing power before providing some good floater that transitions to powerful ejector as the train dives down. As it dives down and pulls up sharply, it pulls a great amount of power before leveling out with some great floater airtime and whipping into a downward turn to the left with, of course, pretty good whip and amazing positives in the valley. I will say I didn't notice the trim hitting very hard or really affecting the ride experience at all. The whip over the first top hat, especially in the back, was absolutely insane. This is definitely going to be a back row ride, for sure. The train unbanks and flies over a small camelback with amazing sustained ejector airtime before diving down and turning with more great positives. The train then rises up into another camelback airtime hill with more ejector before diving down, turning slightly, and entering another ejector-filled camelback. The train then dives down and enters into a double up with 2 phenomenal pops of ejector airtime before diving down again into a swooping left-hand turn in front of the station with great positives before it rises up and into another camelback that dips down into the second launch with a pop of ejector. The second launch has good power, surprisingly. The train then ascends into the celestial spin element. The green track rises up in an upward roll that is super whippy, and yet it provides some good floater airtime, that then dives down in a traditional top hat descent, strengthening the airtime to ejector. The train then dives down and pulls up forcefully again before ascending and whipping into an overbanked turn that has, of course, phenomenal whip. The train then dives down and pulls up again, passing by the on-ride camera, before ascending and turning into a super whippy twisted airtime hill that has amazing ejector airtime and, of course, whip. It then dives down again in a super powerful helix to the left that has a little pullout in the middle that provides a nice pop of airtime. The train then flows into a wave turn that has a nice flow ejector pop before whipping out into a high five element that consists of an outer banked airtime hill with more amazing whip and ejector. The train then pops up into the final brake one with one final ejector pop. The main differences between the yellow and green tracks, besides yellow not pacing as well as green, was the mirroring of the pre-launch segment, mirroring of the first whippy turnaround, having a run of more bunny hop-like elements over the station that don't have as much airtime, a twisted hill into the second launch instead of a traditional hill, the celestial spin being a traditional top hat ascent into a barrel down drop, and the helix being more traditional and not having a little kink / pull out in the middle. The ride is super smooth and absolutely out of control the entire way. It has so many crossovers and interactions with the same track, as well as the other track and trains, that just make it so amazing. The ride is honestly perfect, and the separate load and unload stations will definitely help with capacity. If I'm being honest, I don't think that there is a singular standout element on the ride. Whereas my previous favorite coaster in Velocicoaster had, I would say, 4 standout elements. The first launch, the second launch, the top hat, and the Moza roll. Those, I would say, would be the 4 standout elements. Then it had a lot of great elements mixed in, and then just some nice flowy transitions with some good whip and some pops of ejector. I absolutely still love Velocicoaster. It's my second favorite coaster. But Stardust Racers just has a more consistent and better element lineup. It's got more ejector, more whip, more positives, just more everything, if I'm going to be honest. It's just not having a standout element, to me, doesn't hurt the ride. Even that celestial spin, to me, is no better than the first top hat, because the first top hat provides great floater into ejector airtime, whereas the celestial spin provides floater into ejector along with whip. But those are my thoughts on the masterpiece of a ride that is Stardust Racers. This ride is, to me, the crown jewel of the park. It tops Monsters Unchained, and that is amazing, and I hope to review soon. That's all for this time, and we'll see you all next time on another adventure.